Welcome back to the Elite Service Podcast Unfiltered. Guys, today we're going to be talking to the customer, the technician, and the business professional. Let's start out with the customer's questions, all right? Depending on what level of HVAC you're on, we're going to start with the customer. We're going to then go to the technician questions, and then we're going to follow up with the business professionals. So question number one, why is boiler maintenance often overlooked by homeowners compared to air conditioning service? Guys, there's very simple answers to this. The boiler maintenance is very important. If you're firing up your boiler in early heating season and the pipes are knocking and you're noticing your energy bills super high and stuff like that, it's probably because your boiler isn't maintenance properly. We'll kind of get into what boiler maintenance looks like. How can customers tell if their heating system is running inefficient? This all reflects in your energy bills. Are you paying more in natural gas? Are you paying more in oil? Are you paying more in electric? Guys, if all these numbers are going up on you, it has something to do with your big hitters, your boiler, your water heater, your heat pump, anything. In heating season, these systems work very hard on cold days. So before it gets really cold out, do yourself a favor, do your technician a favor, give them a call and have them come out and service your unit, guys. These services don't cost much. They're very inexpensive and they help with the longevity of your unit. They save you money at the end of the day. You spend $150 on a maintenance, guys, and it might save you $4,000 down the road because you need a boiler replacement or something ridiculous. Question number two, how can customers tell if their heating system is running inefficient? Guys, the system's running inefficient because something's wrong. When the system's running inefficient, you're going to get higher energy bills, higher natural gas bills, higher electrical bills. It's all because the system is working harder to do the job it's trying to do. Question number three, what are some simple things homeowners can do to help maintain their system between visits? Simple answer to this, change your filters. Guys, if you change your filters, you're helping your system breathe, okay? We're talking about hot air systems here, furnaces, oil furnaces, anything that intakes air and blows it out into the space, you need to change your filters because if you don't, your system is working harder to move that air. Question number four, how can customers recognize the difference between normal operation and early warning? This goes back to the energy bills. Are your energy bills high? Is your natural gas bills high? The reason why these bills are high is because your systems are not operating under full potential. These systems run under full potential when they're clean, when they are burning properly, when they are maintained well. That's when your system is running at full capacity and you're getting your most bang for your buck. Question number five, what's the best way to explain maintenance value to customers who just want things to run until they break? Don't let them break, okay? Maintain these systems, guys. These systems cost more than your car nowadays. If you go to replace a system, it's $10,000 to $15,000 to replace these systems, and it's not just for labor, guys. The equipment costs a lot of money. Everything that has to do with where these systems are made and the parts and where they come from all have to do with the cost of these systems, and that's what jacks the prices up on all of this kind of stuff. So the best thing you can do as a homeowner is get the system, have it installed, and then properly maintain it over the years, and these systems should have no problems giving you 20 to 30 years of lifespan, okay? Yes, it may cost you $200 to maintain per year, but guess what? At the end of the day, if you spend that $200, you're not getting hit with a large sum of money to replace these systems. Trust me, it is more cost effective to maintain than to replace. Question number six, how much efficiency can proper maintenance restore to an older system? Naturally, older systems, they are inefficient. That's because of old technology. But I'll tell you this, if you do maintain, these systems do run smoother and longer, and they do tend to do a better job to heat or condition the space. So back to square one, maintenance is your most important thing when it comes to property maintenance, house maintenance, anything. You have to maintain these systems or they will not run properly for you, which would then bring the detriment to the system. Question number seven for the customer, when does it make more sense to replace a boiler or a heater instead of repairing it? How old are these pieces of equipment? You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you this, the older they are, the more expensive they get. If you have a 25-year-old system that you keep trying to kick along and you're replacing part after part after part, these parts can cost thousands of dollars if it's a real serious part. So I would not keep replacing parts if these systems are upwards of 20 to 30 years old. I would just do a nice proper replacement by a certified technician, and then I would maintain it properly for the upcoming years for longevity of the unit. Question number 8, what modern upgrades can help customers save on energy bills, like smart thermostats or outdoor reset controls? Guys, this is a great question. These newer thermostats, they really monitor what type of energy consumption you are intaking, and the new thermostats, they actually monitor what amount of energy you're using and when these units should start up and slow down. So yes, a new thermostat will help you with energy consumption. It'll help you maintain the temperature of your home. So if you want to save on energy and do a modern upgrade, I would start with the thermostat. I would throw a Nest in or any of these newer upgraded Wi-Fi thermostats. They have smart adaptive technology that helps you maintain your space. Question number 9 for the customer, and the final question for the customers. How do modulating or condensing boilers compare in maintenance needs versus traditional ones? Guys, condensing boilers are a different game. These condensing boilers are on demand. So when you have a heating demand, that's when the boiler kicks on, okay? Versus an older boiler. The older boilers, they run and run and run to achieve their temperature, but the condensing boilers, they really help with energy consumption. Guys, I do recommend upgrading your boiler, especially if you're 30 years in and this boiler keeps chugging along and you have a couple extra dollars to spend. Go ahead and get the fully modulating Navium boiler, Renai boiler. All these new modulating boilers do help with energy consumption. All right, these next couple questions are for the technician. What are the most common signs that a boiler or furnace needs maintenance? Does your customer's boiler look terrible? Does it look like it hasn't been maintained? Because I'll tell you this, all my good customers that get their annual maintenances and stuff done, their equipment look brand new. Why? Because they have a technician like me servicing them annually in the springtime and the fall. I come out, I do the proper maintenances, I clean all the sensors, I blow out the blowers, I make sure there's no dust, debris in these systems, and then after I'm done, I wipe these systems down and act like they're mine. I clean them, I maintain them, I change the filters, okay? These pieces of equipment cost a lot of money to your customer. Take care of them like they're your own, okay? Question number 2 for the technician. How often should homeowners have their boiler or heater serviced? This is a very simple answer. I always do my heater services typically in the fall time, October, November. These are great times to have your technician come out and absolutely full restore and refurbish these heating systems, okay? So typically I like to do these in October and November. Question number 3 for the technician. What are the key steps involved in proper boiler maintenance routines? Guys, always bleed your boilers. One of the most important things to do for a boiler maintenance is bleed the pipes. Is your customer constantly hearing knocking in the pipes? If so, it's probably because there's air in the system. When there's air in the system, the boiler cannot properly flow water and do its job as it should. So on a typical boiler maintenance, always bleed each individual zone until there's no air in the system. Once you're done bleeding the system, then what I typically do is I take each individual burner out and I clean them, make sure there's no debris or carbon buildup within these parts, and then I put them back. And 99% of the time, the boiler runs perfectly fine and it runs as it should. Question number 4 for the technician. How important is it to check combustion and flue gas analysis during maintenance? Guys, this is a very important question. The reason being is when you're reading these gas temperatures and readings, it is important that they are running efficiently. If you have too much fuel or too much air, these systems are not running properly. So you do need a proper combustion analysis in order to figure out if the unit is running efficient enough, okay? Question number 5 for the technician. What role does water quality play in boiler performance and lifespan? This is a very simple question. The better the water, the better your equipment runs, and the better and longer the equipment lasts. So when you flush these boilers and you're running clean water through them, they should have a better lifespan because it takes an easier toll on the heat exchanger. Question number 6 for the technician. What's the difference between preventative maintenance and reactive service calls for heating systems? When you're doing preventative maintenance, you're preventatively trying to keep these units running as smooth and as efficient as possible. This all comes back to you as the technician. You should be properly educating your customers on how important these maintenances are so that you don't get these reactive service calls, right? I did 13 services on 13 separate heating systems amongst 3 different houses today. And let me tell you something, all my customers have 20+ year old systems that run beautifully beautifully for the reason of they take the responsibility upon themselves to do their maintenances. And that's the beauty behind it. They call me up, I go out, and I spend a couple hours on each individual system and properly dissect each system, clean the proper parts, and get the services done. These services are the most important thing when it comes to longevity of these units. That is the difference between reactive maintenance and scheduled service. Question number 7 for the technician. How do dirty burners or heat exchangers affect a system's efficiency? Guys, if you have dirty burners, I'm telling you right now that system is not running efficient. The reason being is because there is carbon buildup and debris in each one of those burners that affects the flow of gas and the combustion of the system. So yes, dirty burners do affect the efficiency of the unit. These are things that you have to do in each individual maintenance to keep these units running properly, to guarantee proper combustion for each individual system. Question number 8, what's the impact of skipping annual maintenance on both gas and oil systems? Simple answer, always do your maintenance. Never skip your maintenance. Maintenance is the most important thing when it comes to keeping a system running properly and efficiency, for the reason being it should be running 100% of the time. There should be no reason why your customer goes 4 or 5 years. You're not doing your job as a technician to properly inform your customer that they need to not only maintain their system, but properly maintain it themselves. Question number 9 for the technician. Can you explain what short cycling is and why is it bad for the heating system? Short cycling typically occurs when your system's oversized. These systems should have a time span that they run. The reason being is you never want anything turning on and off and on and off. It takes more energy to do that than it does to just properly maintain that flow of heat. So I would honestly say that maintaining is more important than cycling. Never oversize your systems. If anything, slightly undersize it so that it can run. It takes more energy to run something than to short cycle it. Question number 9 for the technician. Can you explain what are some safety checks every tech should perform during a heating tune-up? Let me ask you this. Is your system burning properly? Do you have a nice blue flame? Is the flame yellow? Is it flashing? Is it orange? Guys, as a seasoned technician, you should know the difference between a dirty flame and a good flame. That goes back to your burners being dirty. Do you have enough gas being supplied to the system? All these different things come into play when it comes into how your unit's running. So as long as the customer does their maintenance, none of these things should be a problem. All right, guys, that concludes the questions that are typically asked by the technician. Now we move on. These questions are for the business professionals, people who are in the industry to absolutely dominate and take care of the customer. Question number 1 for the business professional. How can offering maintenance plans help both the company and the customer? Well, to me, this is a very simple question. Maintenances, annual maintenances, and plans help the company and the customer. Why? Because it keeps the company busy. When you're a company and you have guys that depend on you to bring them work every single day, it is important to have these contracts for maintenance plans for your customer to have you and the guys go out and maintain these systems. It's important for the customer because if they don't maintain their systems, they're going to lose longevity out of these systems. And not only are they losing longevity, they're losing money at the same exact time, because you should get 20 to 25 years out of your system. If you're not doing your maintenances as a customer, you might get 10 to 15 years out of these systems, guys, when these things can be lasting you an extra 10 years. So I would say it is very important for the company and the customer to do these maintenance plans because it keeps us busy and it keeps you in the clear as a customer. Question number 2 for the business professional. What's the best time of year to promote boiler or heater maintenances? Very simple answer. These maintenances for heaters and boilers should happen in the fall seasons, in the slow seasons. Guys, when we slow down, you have nothing but time. You have time to teach, you have time to maintenance, you have time to do your job properly to the T, not skip a step and absolutely dominate the industry, okay? This leads me to the answer. Do your maintenances in the slow time, fall or spring, okay? When we're talking about heaters, do your heating maintenances in October, November, September, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to come to a standstill. It's very important to lock in your customers to a maintenance plan in this time of year because you have the time to absolutely dissect their unit and come to conclusions and bring up important points to them to where they can take care of their system, okay? Because I'll tell you this, in the heat of the system, when it's very cold outside, I'm running around like crazy and I don't have the proper time to properly give you the time to explain everything properly and whatnot. Do it in the slow times, guys. It's the most important thing. Question number 3 for the business professional. How do you train new techs to handle boiler systems, safety, and efficiency? This is a very important question, and I'm actually in the middle of this right now. I take these slow times, to not try to win, but to educate. Okay, it's very important to give the time to the technicians that are under me to properly learn these systems and give them the proper education and tools it takes to get the job done in a timely manner. Okay, I take a lot of time to educate my technicians when it comes to this stuff. When we have downtime, you're not sitting around. You're practicing your profession and you're becoming a master at your craft at the same exact time. It's a beautiful thing. Question number 4 for the business professional. What changes have you noticed in boiler technology over the past decade? Guys, we went from old school 400-pound boilers to fully condensing 100-pound monsters that take care of the job just as well as an old school boiler does, with half the energy and half the time. This boiler technology, it's unreal how it's changed in the past 10 years. It's much more efficient. It's adaptive. It learns. These boilers kind of know your schedule nowadays. It's a little scary. These things almost have a brain of their own. This technology has changed immensely over the past 10 years. Question number 5 for the business owner. How does maintaining older equipment differ from servicing new high efficiency models? For example, this week I had a tough one. I have a couple customers that like kicking their unit down the road. Their systems are, 30 plus years old and they want to keep them running. So, it's a tough question, but there's a simple answer to this. If you want to keep your old equipment running, you have to adapt it to new technology. For example, I put a new board in an old system and the board ended up working, but the moment I put the board in, the old thermostat, it just totally failed on me. So I had to end up going and get a new thermostat to adapt to the new board, and the system ended up working perfectly fine. That comes down to upgrading the low voltage system. So if you're going to be doing minor upgrades, you have to realize if you're doing something, don't be surprised if something else fails, because the old technology is not adapted to the new technology most of the time. So sometimes you have to update a whole system in order to help the new technology adapt with the older systems. So that concludes question number 5 for the business owner, guys. Thank you, and we'll hear back from you next week. This is Dominic Fernback, and I'm checking out.